Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to part 5 of Clingin On. To recap very quickly, at the end of the last episode, we made a tactical withdrawal. We didn't flee, no, that would be dishonourable, from the Utopia Planitia shipyards at Mars, and in the process we left rather a lot of comrades behind to be captured by the Federation. Now, while we're downing the blood wine and trying to forget about all of that in the middle of the paperwork, well, some of this is going okay. A couple of injuries, a lot of various bits and pieces. Contraband is always nice, as is experience, so that's another level on notched. Oh, and the Chancellor's phoned. Oh, right. So basically we can either go and get those prisoners back, or we can just go and quietly commit suicide somewhere. Well, I like breathing, so let's go with the first option. And why is there a Mark 7? Shield available when everything else is Mark 6. More to the point, why do I care? Let's just stick that to one side for the moment and just toddle through the rest of the paperwork. Okay, reattach various limbs, get a few new things in, and oh, I don't believe this. She couldn't even die right. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you utter incompetence. And to cap it all, they lost a fight to Ferengi. Oh dear. If it wasn't for the fact that the firing squad probably couldn't shoot straight, I'd have that pair shot as well. Right, let's see. Is there anything worth grabbing here? Yes, we'll kick this thread off. That is one of the plot chains. Fortunately, you can't mess this particular line of missions up. It is that easy. And while we're at it, let's get rid of him. Maybe we'll get somebody competent. Cut out one shopping spree and a skill training session. And let's get this show on the road. Starbase 157, ladies and gentlemen. Middle of nowhere, even by Federation standards. Nice looking base, though. I think are they running some sort of really big holodeck setup? Because that's a truly gratuitous number of solar panels. I can only assume that this is where they assigned Mr. Broccoli after one holodeck fantasy too many. Anyway, come up behind these three, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is why you tend to get scatter volley taken over rapid fire in a lot of endgame builds. High yield, dump the cloak, and blam. Two ships have their shield facings collapse almost immediately. High yield torpedo finishes one off. And then, well, we don't have the angle at the moment, but that's number 2 gone. And the buff's worn off, so conventional firepower to finish number 3. Although rapid fire works even better. Little bit gratuitous, but who cares? Just to make and reinforce the point, let's find another bunch of victims. See if we can get a better angle this time. They'll do. Those of you who are anticipating a slugfest on this map, by the way, will be happy to hear that you don't have to clean all the packs out from this map. You only have to get rid of 3 or 4. So, line this up. Scatter volley. Go. Rapid fire, go. Attack team, go. Attack alpha, go. Dump the cloak, and die, 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 die. Bang, bang, and bang. Short, sweet, and brutal. That took all of 11 seconds, start to finish. We'll jump forward a bit because, as I said, you only have to clear out a few packs and there's really nothing of interest. And we'll get on with the traditional Klingon pastime of boarding people. Yes. Those of you who have been paying attention will realise that my bird of prey somehow acquired a Lieutenant Commander slot. This is because, as I have said before, I am an idiot. You get your initial officers, but you do not get them at the appropriate rank. You have to remember to actually promote them, and hello, ladies and gentlemen. So nice of you to drop by. Right, choppy, slashy, slashy. Remember, kill the medic first. Now, oh, where was it? What was I even saying before this delicious bloodshed interrupted me? Oh yes, promotions. You have to remember to promote your officers up to Lieutenant Commander rather than merely Lieutenant, and the game won't prompt you. You are, after all, expected to be competent at man management, or indeed underling management. Now, someone's got nice quarters here. That's not too shabby at all. Interesting retexture. Although, whoever laid the floor needs to be shot, and their blood mixed into the mortar for the new tiles. Alright, nothing of interest in there. Let's carry on. And where... Hang on, am I down a bridge officer somewhere? Oh my... The pathfinding, ladies and gentlemen, it is occasionally very, very funny in this game. Oh dear. So, Talimba, I hereby rename you Han Solo. And obviously, chop, chop, slash, slash. Engineers do, of course, have that nasty habit of just recharging their shields every so often. They've actually toned it down since the initial release, which is grateful. Now, which way do I want to go from here? Right, that looks like a dead end, so I think I had the right of it first time around. Let's head back. Target optics. Pick a victim, and pop. Nicely done. Could have gone to aim mode for even more reduced damage. Chuck out a stun grenade, and miss completely. Oh well. Right, now that teller, right, the short dude is a combat medic. He needs to go. You can see he's actually rezzing one of his colleagues. Fortunately, I think we blasted the zombie almost immediately, but no, you don't. Get the interrupt out. There we go. Alright, and don't stand in the green stuff. Always a good idea, although I'd have sworn I got into the area of effect of that, and I'm not catching fire. Have they patched this? Have they altered it so that plasma fires don't do friendly fire? Yes, I believe they have. Which is going to make anyone who groups with 12th Fleet's Mako contingent very, very happy indeed. Right, this is clear. Shan't bother with that data sample. We do not craft. We do not sew. We take. We are Klingon. Unless, of course, you're Gorn, Orion, Lethian, Nausicaan, Join Trill, or any other kind of Jagpui, in which case you aren't Klingon, but who cares? Don't bother sewing either. Right, now where's this tractor beam? Aha, that looks promising. Right, excellent. Disable tractor beam. Now, hopefully there's a big red button here, because otherwise we're going to have to actually read the manual. Oh. They stuck a password on it, of course. Why didn't they do that on the Death Star? For that matter, why, in the interim between Kenobi just flicking that switch, didn't anyone on the bridge say, hey guys, we seem to have lost the main tractor beam. Can someone get down there and flick it back on? Answer, of course, is that, well, it had been ordered to let them escape and make it look good, so they'd lead them straight to the rebel base, and I've just used way, way, way too many pronouns in that last sentence. Fortunately, unless you've been under a rock since 1977, you will hopefully know what I'm referring to. If you don't, then there is no hope. I'm sorry. I have to break it to you. Right. Pull out the bat'leth again. Can't get a bow and arrow, unfortunately, so the ghost of Mad Jack Churchill will remain not entirely resurrected, but yes, a Klingon is indeed improperly armed unless he is carrying at least something with a blade, and the bigger the better. Right, okay, so that's actually broken the tractor beam now. We need a shuttle bay. Now, was it back here? I don't think it was. I don't remember seeing any side turns. Maybe it was down to the right. Obviously, the map in this still has the occasional issue, as does my sense of direction, because that's a dead end. Right, it must be through the upper level of the engineering floor then. Well, nothing like a bit of exercise to keep you fit, unless of course you count severing heads, limbs and various other actions of amateur surgery, particularly when done to the enemies of the Empire, or your enemies, and it's strange how often for Klingons those two terms line up. Right. Up 2, 3, 4, up 2, 3, 4. Shan't bother looting the lockbox. I've got far too many of those stashed up on my other characters anyway. I wouldn't mind, except that... yeah, it's a little bit too transparent as money making goes. Obviously Cryptic are a business, but... yeah. Call it a certain distaste for gambling. Right, into them. Okay, slashy, slashy, slashy. Now, yeah, grenades obviously don't do friendly fire anymore, which is almost a pity. But if you allow friendly fire like that, I suppose you then have to argue for things like melee swings to do friendly fire as well, and somebody standing in front of you while you're doing some of the more enthusiastic Bat'leth combos could get messy. Eviscerated opponents is one thing after all, but trying to explain the eviscerated captain to your superiors is really a conversation you don't want to have. Now, we need to liberate a runabout. Obviously by liberate I mean steal, and there's another combat medic. Ladies and gentlemen, if you take nothing else from this video, take this: shoot the short arse. Tellarites, nothing but trouble, a lot of them. Don't drink with them, don't argue with them, and I'd say don't fight with them, but that's not really true, as you can see. You can quite happily fight with a Tellarite, or indeed anything else. Just smack, smack, kindly fall over. I have to admire his dedication, though. I mean, let's face it, most people wouldn't be able to focus on an engineering task when you had 6'6" of Klingon trying to shove 1.20 m of sharpened steel up somewhere tender. Right, now, we need to get to that control room, don't we? Okay, obviously there's a crew in there. As I said, Starfleet engineers, truly dedicated to their craft. And highly annoying, of course, because if they kneel down, you can't interrupt their deployment. So if they get out something like a medical generator, your life just became rather awkward. Right, and another combat oh, not as well. Punch her in the face and watch her fall over immediately. Yes, Klingon flying kicks, ladies and gentlemen, deadly from 10 meters out. Right, I think we've cleared the room. Yes, we have. Right, now, where'd they leave the car keys? Ah, ha! That looks good. Excellent. Back down to the... I'm sorry, we're not going to steal a shuttlecraft. Do you think we're going to slum it? We're going to steal a runabout. There is a difference. Largely one of size, comfort, crew quarters. Oh yes, and they've got about twice the armament. Approximately. Obviously, in-game, this is a little more abstracted. However, since we're done with Starbase 157, let's roll on to Penal Facility 47. Yes. And yes, for those of you who are wondering, the number 47 crops up almost as often in this game as it does in Next Generation. That is to say, wildly disproportionate. Now, at this point, I have to note a bit of a gripe about the mission. The briefing hints that if you are careful with these security beacons, you can actually disable them without being spotted. This is a lie, ladies and gentlemen. Disabling beacons 1, 3 and 5 will always get you noted. Disabling beacons 2 and 4 will never get you noted. And of course in beacons 1, 3 and 5 you have to blow up a light cruiser in a runabout. Leaving aside from the detail that that is either the smallest light cruiser in a while or the largest runabout in some time, yes, this game does keep its shuttles out of scale with everything else, if only to keep them visible. Given how titchy a 10-metre long shuttlecraft is next to a 400-metre long starship, you can see how they'd have problems otherwise. I suppose we should just be grateful that they don't have the Imperium of Man in this game. Emperor-class battleships are a little on the gratuitous side. You'll also have noticed, of course, that I'm cutting through most of this phase because, frankly, it is boring. And the disable security measures dialogue is just a little bit temperamental. It is not a straight sphere. There are some very odd regions around each beacon where you can disable it, and some rather odd ones where you can't. So you'll often find yourself just blundering around, trying to find somewhere where you can trigger it. Of course, if, like me, you'd assumed it was possible to do all 5 beacons on the quiet, you'll be blundering around even longer because you'll be looking for a way to either break line of sight to the frigates or wait for them to get out of range. Of course, it doesn't matter at all because you'll get noticed on the odd-numbered beacons no matter what. Right, however, once you have all 5 beacons disabled, you get the option of beaming onto Facility 47. Not codename 47, that would be messy and potentially rather explosive. I have no idea what happens if you try to teleport somebody into someone else in the Star Trek universe, but the phrase blast radius does come to mind. And amazingly, despite 3 light cruisers going up and half their security grid going offline, they haven't sounded a red alert. Don't look at me, I'm not in charge of this base, and I'm not questioning good luck either. Now kill this medic, there we go. Remember gentlemen, this is an invaluable rule for any online game, because we don't have Geneva Conventions online. Shoot the medic first. Penny Arcade put it most memorably, but they were right. Now then, let's tweak the kit a little. Get the fireteam kit back on, since bat'leths are fun, but they're not always productive. There's certainly something to be said for grabbing a pulse wave or a blast assault and just going nuts at range. So, right, this looks like the brig, doesn't it? Okay. Redo the paintwork a little, and he picked an odd moment to practice his Tai Chi. Tai Chi? Tai Chi? I have no idea how you pronounce that. Somebody will doubtless correct me. Alright, whack our way through the various ensigns, kill the combat medic again. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, if it's 4 feet tall and wearing blue and it's in Starfleet, actually if it's just wearing blue and it's in Starfleet, kill it immediately. Leave the red shirts till last, as tempting as it might be to do otherwise. Alright, now, have we cleared this room? I don't think... No, we haven't. There was another group round the other side. So we'll quickly polish them off. Ignore Ensign Newbie for a second. There we go. And pop, yeah, combat medic again. You can actually order your bridge officers to focus on a given target. Highlight the poor sap in question, tap Y, all 4 officers will focus on him. At this point, honestly, I'm just being lazy. So, with the room cleared, let's take the force fields offline. There are only 3 prisoners. Where did they put the rest? I mean, they took, what, half a dozen birds of prey? Is it possible that the crews of these ships actually did the decent thing and either went down fighting or offed themselves? If so, ladies and gentlemen, there are new warriors in Sto-vo-kor as of the end of the last episode. The Black Fleet will doubtless welcome anybody too dense-skulled and thick-headed to run when the odds were against them. On the other hand, apparently they have a good thing for suicide missions in the Black Fleet, so hey. Glory's all well and good, I suppose. Now then, 1, 2, and 3. Right. Let's go. I suppose we now need a way out of here. Would it be too much to ask that we could just beam back to the runabout? I mean, it's got the room. We've only picked up 3 guys. Pop. Blast assault, ladies and gentlemen. Excellent. Against closely packed targets. You don't get many shots like that, though. Could have amped it up further, of course, with a couple of seconds actual preparation. If I'd bothered to hit target optics in aim mode, chances are we'd have wiped out that group with the first shot. Maybe. Or I could just be fantasizing to myself. That's also entirely possible. Now then, disable the force field on the shuttle bay. There was a force field blocking that corridor. Hopefully the controller's in here. Gotta love these Starfleet design layouts. They're always so sporting. They'd never lock the only control to the shuttle bay force fields in the shuttle bay. That would be too easy. It would require too much creativity. We wouldn't, fortunately, have to make a very large hole courtesy of, well, sustained weapons fire and the nearest bulkhead. Then again, I suppose we could just pop a couple of tribbles on the floor and wait for them to start cooing. Some stupid ensign would probably come along and go, ooh, and deactivate the force field to go and pick them up. The fool. The short-sighted, easily malleable fool. If the Federation wishes to play with biological weapons, we can indulge them. Now then, clear this group as well. Nothing special here. Commander Tactical. Ugh, those guys are a pain. Far too curious. Did he just throw that stun grenade backwards? Starfleet combat training at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. Ugh. Now then, I think we are done here. Yes, we are. Room cleared. There's the console we need. Oh no, someone popped a turret there. Pop, bang, gone. Warranty invalid. We're destroyed by Klingons, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, engineers being engineers, they just beam a new one in 10 seconds later. That must really put an insurance salesman out of business in the Federation. Yes, we broke the shuttlecraft, not to worry, we'll just replicate a new one and strip the old one down for raw mass. Probably best not to ask what they do with redshirt corpses at the end of each away mission, though. Then again, maybe that reconstituted roquette blood pie. Yeah. I think I'm going to be sticking to fresh food for a bit. Preferably stuff that's still squirming. At least you can't replicate a living being as far as I know. Someone's probably tried it. Someone out there is going to point me to an episode where that was done, aren't they? Where they managed to replicate a living being. Oh, wait. There was that Next Gen episode, wasn't there? The one with the transporter clone of Riker. That's not strictly a replicator, but near enough for jazz. Anyway, flying kicks, ladies and gentlemen, the Klingon Empire's secret weapon. Why these guys didn't just loot a phaser rifle off a guard, I don't know. But on the other hand, having just seen what that guy's kick did to a Starfleet officer, why bother? Okay, right. Fortunately, they haven't locked it down, so we can just nick the runabouts and leave. I hope they remember to open the bay doors. That could be messy. Okay, right, so in theory all we have to at this point is leg it. Fleeing the scene. I suppose we can make some awful jokes about jumping ship, even if... oh lord, they've gone for the locals. Ladies and gentlemen, if you were wondering why these guys were locked up, wonder no further. We're going to have to get rid of this entire pack of enemies, aren't we? And of course, because we've only got the one ensign slot and I don't have an officer with Fire at Will 1 or Torp Spread 1 available, this could take a while. There are times, I must admit, when I'd almost prefer an escort mission, just keeping the enemy busy while the other runabouts legged it. At least with typical escort missions, you don't generally have an AI escortee that has extreme psychopathic urges. Mind you... how many hits have those guys taken? Are they invulnerable? Have we got some sort of prototype runabout by accident? Some sort of constantly regenerating SF. I mean, look at that guy. He is on fire! And bang, that was at least one solid torpedo hit, and he doesn't appear to care. Ladies and gentlemen, true Klingon style. Yes, the ship's on fire. Yes, we're getting pounded by Starbase grade weapons. And yes, somehow that thing had a Starship grade plasma beam on it, despite being smaller than the actual beam array. Don't question it. No, really, don't. It will do your head in and just roll with it. Pop. I'll say this for these fighters, that they're making very satisfying explosions. Alright, how many of these have we got to kill? I make it 1, 2... 2 fighters, 1 frigate, which oddly isn't that much tougher than the fighters, it has to be said. Another anomaly of the fact that light cruisers are basically cannon fodder. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. I mean, what can you say? This is a utility ship, a runabout, a dinky little thing they have on starships. And it's just taken out said starship. Right, knock off that last fighter, and I think we are clear. Yes, we are, and fortunately they're not going for anything else in range, so let's just leg it quickly. And yes, we have definitely got an indestructible runabout. That's the only thing I can think of to describe it. Presumably the guy at the helm is wearing an asbestos-laced environment suit and singing opera merrily to himself to drown out all the damage reports and warnings. Probably snapped the furry dice in the cockpit as well, so at least they've got a more tasteful control deck. Now then, there's supposed to be a battleship around here somewhere. Supposed to be. Are they late? Did they get drunk on the way here and wind up at Starbase 74 instead? Are we going to have to toddle all the way back to Kronos in a runabout that's on fire, a runabout that is sparking dangerously and clearly needs its electrics checked out, and quite possibly, well, I don't know what's wrong with mine, but I'm willing to bet there's nothing edible on it, unless you want vegetables. Ah, good, there they are. Excellent. Now, dock with the battleship. Or we could just talk them. An honour to have fought alongside me. Words fail me, ladies and gentlemen. Words fail me. Those Nakja-sucking Tokajai. They show up late. They don't fire a shot. They probably ate all the gach and finished the Taknar gizzards as well, and they then say it was an honour to fight. Well, at least the Chancellor isn't mad at us. Now, let's see. Personal shields of varying flavours. What can we get? Mark 7 Commander. That's either a bug or something very odd's going on, but we'll figure it out later. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, I will bid you farewell.